Don't do the bar, Cassere. I showed down Cassere. Solo Jada Shiju, Jimba. Tadikas, Sumba, Dingle, Debu Punzo to Jusidwa. Samba Punzo, Chora Punzo Yeletane, and a Debu, Randu Pamba Punzo, Shandu, and Sugu, ya Kaba. Tuchi ni the shade in Sidwa. Dinama shade the car shade to Sena. Samba Punzo, Chora Punzo Yeletane, Gu Samba Punzo, Debu Punzo Yeletane, Debu, Pangba Punzo, and Sugu Nibutun to the shade. Somebody do $1 pension about Tumba, the shake, etc. $1 pension about Tumba need to chop some junior shara. Joba etc. Pangba the Jobanite. $1 pension about Tumba, the unity shara. The shake on Jobanite shara. Tin table punch on the shake in Sigora. Digital Lamnale.
So, based on the...
Yeah,
so here we are on page 327. I don't know if you have this book, but... Oh, I guess I better put on this. If I don't put the microphone, I don't think you'll hear me. So anyway, we're on page... I'm not sure if you have the book, but we're on page 327. So let's see. And more of this section where... Oh, then the page of it. The reverse number is here. Ours, Genla's is 140, but we have 139C, and the topic here, as indicated by the outline, is based on those two excellences, the way of proving the excellence of results. So the two excellences are the previous ones, the excellence of intention and the excellence of application. So here are the way of, and then the results are through those is divided into the excellence of one's own aims and the excellence of others' aims. And one's own aims is well, in that expression of worship, Dignaga's expression of worship, one's own aims then is embodied in the word Sugata. And then the excellence of others' aims is embodied in the word Savior. So I was so pleased to remember that. Anyway, yeah, Teresa.
Oh yeah, that and the Karishik Sena, Debu, the shake the shake doa. Randu Punzo, the shake the shake doa. Randu, you could send the Randu Punzo, the Niga Yungora. Randu, you could Pangba the shake the shake doa. Tambo. Do some just Punzo, Nikumbala, Debu, Randu, you could, and it the shake the to shake yora. Oh, Tilian, Dordanda, Geshe, Nigana, Tambo Dord to the shake doa. Pangba the shake. Cuban and then some Teshe, etc. Chicantambo de la. Oh, Soloka got the ship to Chicantambo. Cuban and then some Teshe. Casodos to make you Tanzita, Te, Paksata, Cheba, Pangbe, Pangbachu, Cuban and dance. You to make you Tanzita, Te, Paksata, Cheba, Pangbe, and then Pangba Puzo, the Chuchan, Cuban and then some dishes all day. Pangba the Keber Sunday get our shepherd Keber Sundan then be any Pangba Tabdu Resegora. Geshe ni indi se juda cheba pangba pangba chuchen. Geshe ni indi yunden sumden je pangba tatu inbe chesikwa. Tiba de chilam nale. Pangba teshe te gyopang yunden sum teshe se de. Pangba teshe te ni yunden sumdan dembe. Teshe indi yunden sumdan dembe pangba tatu inbe chesikwa. Tiba de chilam na. Kote tira.
So then with the Sugata, there's that's the result of those two excellences, the intention and application. And there are two two aspects, should we say, to being a Sugata and to attaining one's own aims, and that's the aspect of the aspect of abandonment, the aspect of knowledge. And so here we're addressing the first, the aspect of abandonment, and it says showing the Buddha is a Sugata with three special qualities. So here the brief demonstration is in that first, well, it's the third line of verse 139. Abandonment of the cause is the Sugata possessing three qualities. So the abandonment, that is the abandonment of the cause of suffering, means self-grasping, together with the propensities thereto, is the Sugata, because it is an ultimate abandonment possessing three qualities.
Yunden sumden ki teshik res la rwa. Yunden sumden debe teshik res. Titi swa. Da liu dhiri nyundrip tansik da liu nipe kapsu sikwa ra. Nyamu be tripa kansak tansin tizuli ya. Ene nyundrip sikwa ra. Dosha kondo nga jela soba. Mita so chudu la nyamu che mayinbe mishi ba yueba tingi shitrip tu chebe tingi pangba tsam teshe su tengi ese. Liu nipa neshe teshe te pangba de kari pangresana pangsa nyamu ta ane nyamu ke pakcha tile shitrip shane o tingi ni de pangre ese gora tingi pangba de tengi yore ese gora kamde teshe ese teshe te mita so chudu la mekbe nyamu che mayinbe mishi ba yueba tingi ta asera ane yueba tingi shitrip tu chebe tingi pangba tsam teshe su tengi ese ale tadi kando mati ki tangwa dirda liun diri se nyundrip taa se mida so tsuru nyamu che mayinbe mishiba sudu shitrip sikwa ra tanda nyamu taa nyamu che mayinbe mishiba nyi sikwa ra di shitrip sikwa ra shitrip du chebe timi pangba tsam teshe su tungi re se pangba teshe se ade ti re se liun nipa ne shebe sunzi tse tada do shebe tokwa la shitrip du chebe pangba di tengi yo ma re sikwa ra semzambelula sungzi che thade to zimbadile shitip sigora ti tanda ti pangba de tengi yo mare sigora sungzi che thade to shimbe tokbala shitu du chebe pangba de tengi yo mare se karesna tanda kamdelia nyende range tijin sungage ene topjage tane tambashi de namsha shegora te juse reje sungala nyawara kove tumuge tamba tingi ji senyi tambashi tumu tomba choten gerwa o de sungzi zenshen ki tongba tomba ta ti shitibi batin de shego mare yinge se tekba tumu mayinbe tombe senyi tomba mayne semzamba tekba chembo amya tekba chembo tumu mayinbe tomba ge ne senyi de shego mare se ti ne tenzin pangba ta de shego ra ti bo de chilam na no se
if we read on in the commentary, then it says this chapter, meaning chapter 2, which we're studying, shows as the Sugata just the abandonment of the two obstacles, otherwise known as the two obscurations or the two obstructions. Here translated as the two obstacles. The defilement obstacle, which is also known as the afflictive obscuration, or or the obstructions to liberation. Jeffrey uses that one. Then also the knowledge obstacle. Here, knowledge obstacle is translated. What do we say? We say the cognitive obscurations. Here, he uses knowledge obstacle. Jeffrey uses obstructions to omniscience. Yeah, so it's those two are taken as non-defiled ignorance regarding impermanence in the other 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. It does not teach as the Sugata the abandonment of the knowledge obstacle taken as the cognition attached to a substantial difference between object and subject. That would be the definition of a knowledge obstacle that put forward or asserted by the Chittamatra or mind-only school. The reason for that is that Dharmakirti wishes to show the definition of the common teacher who is most necessary to all three lineages of practitioners. He's trying to, he's using a definition that's common to all three lineages of practitioners. So then three lineages being Shravaka, Pratyeka, Buddha, and Bodhisattva. So he does not show the definition of the uncommon Mahayana teacher, which would be this one about the substantial, cognition attached to a substantial difference between subject and object. So therefore, the no self he teaches is just the no. Did we read this? I think we didn't read. Did Tamade or did Barda? Oh, yeah, we didn't. No.
미모체 많이 미시바스라.
네.
어디 방배 땡기 어레서라. 디년도다 랑게다 티진다 감각 켈랭게 떠바티셔요라.
네.
어디 디년도다 랑게도 저기 순지 디 어디 추러지. 야. 이거 택바 첨부 투무 많이 생이 땡기 어마레서라.
No. So he's not showing the definition of the uncommon Mahayana teacher. He's trying to show what's common to Hinayana and Mahayana, basically.
다 띵이기 나서도가.
Mahayana.
규세 띵이기 나서거라. 류니바네셰게 담에대야 간사기 담에 잠시든 그래서 간사 란게투베 세위기 담에서거라.
네.
땡기 여러마도 저기 심장 배셔바나신 송지 자신기 동바샤다 우마 배셔바나신기 Rangune Tube Tongbasan, the Shagyo Maresiguare. Caresina, Nande Range, teaching Sungage, Nikasare, Sungage, Tandabada Tubasinama, or Tina Shagi, the Bongbada, Tambachia. Tini Gena Dame, Jakansa, Dame, some Shitangi, Chugi Dame, Sundu Sashan, Tombe Chugi Dame, one a loss of Shag the Esigora. Tichilamna, Tonda Chujud.
Chugitami Ola.
Oh, the Dame, Sundu Sashan, Tomba Sadra. Titan the Tungi the Shag of Mares or the. They lost one a Shag the
So, therefore, as he's doing like this, Dharmakirti, then the no-self he teaches is just the no-self of persons, the emptiness of a, the lack of a self-sufficient, of a substantial of a substantial self in the sense of it being self-sufficient. And then the no-self of dharmas, then of phenomena, will be explained below. It's just sort of on just, sort of as a side thing later on, not here.
Today in Nasigura, because you talk about Kogura. Oh, when I need to Chimbuya to Americ Bartas. And then they can Samba Pinzo shed Ninji Chimbusha from Asigura. Then she Americ Bata, Nyanduji region and Never Kove, Savet Tambata, Ninji Chimbule, Neba Tuba, she then go by sir. No, the Ninji Chimbutan show the Sigura. The Garas and Tamba Sanji Chum Dende, Tambu Ninji Chimbucom, Tene. Dame come, Tene, Pangbata Toba Tarchimbe, Sanji Chum de Jura City and Goresigora. And Yandu Koran in the Simbo Comeke Shego Mara. Sanji Chum Dende, Samba Pusum Soba Niji Simbo Che, Tene Choa Pusum Soba Dame Toba Shirocum, Tene Pando Tarchimbe, Sameki Bukura Restisha, Resegora.
So the qualm is then raised. Well, then it is unreasonable to assert that the greatly compassionate one is shown here. He's saying then this is something that's not. Well, why is it then that you're showing that based on compassion, then that which is the excellence of intention, then the Buddha attained the excellence of application, which is the wisdom that cognizes no self, and then based on that, he brought to the perfection or the ultimate state, both abandonment and the perfection of, or we're saying the excellence of abandonment and the excellence of knowledge, and in that way then became the savior. So then, how is that reasonable? Yeah. No, Drisa.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is invitation. No. Don't that. Nyandu Jirishan Yora. Nyandu Lam come the Yandu Geshora. Oti Nyandu Jirishan Tuzulia, Kansa Ranga to be Tamis get Yora. Sunzi Session get Tongbata, Tempermeba Tongba City Yomara. Oh, this was the quote under the Neshe, tekwa sumga ke tumu nyamso lanja di shegyo resi ora.
네.
Di nyandu ji rijen namla nyawar kowe tsawe tomba tiya, nyandu ji rijen ki tomba sanje chumde de tiya, nyingji chenpo komba la tiyani, pangdo tarshiba resi, tiya kowe tonda shegyo resi ora. Nyandu koran zo tarwa toba la nyingji chenpo komgo resi, di shegyo ma resi ora, tonda.
Tamade yang Geshe.
Nyandu ji rijen namla nyawar kowe tsawe tomba tiya sikwa. Nyandu tozuke sanjele kyabchi, chole kyabchi, kindu kyabchi sigira. Lam nyamso lam tomba sanji chumdendi tomba sungu yara.
네.
Ti tomba di, di nyingji chenpo, tangbo samba pusung samba nyingji chenpo chetene, chowa punzo chetene, pangdo tar shimba gyurwachi kugyo resere. Konzo ya. Madochi ko karsore. Ti tondali nyingji chenpo shegi yara mado. Tarwa toba la nyingji chenpo ngebado kores, ti shegi yara ma resi kortona.
네.
Yuzo.
네. So, although he is the root teacher who is the most necessary to those of the Shravaka lineage, that means that he takes refuge in, that they take refuge in the three jewels, the same, then it is also necessary to show that his accomplishments definitely arise from his being the greatly compassionate one. It's still they have to show that he's greatly compassionate and has perfection of his own, what do you say, of intention, and then through that the perfection of application, and then becomes the one who, the Sugata, who's perfectly has perfection, or we call it the excellence of abandonment and the excellence of knowledge. They also have that.
Gada shiju tambe tsika nipa dida nipa ke sumba ke chega di shegidwa de kasha di kari shegidwa shina pangba kebar sumden de kebar shegidwa pangba de shegde keju sumden de gire shegidwa pangba di dodu di shegidwa da kebar shegidwa pangba keju sumden de pangba de shegde kebar shegidwa stiji labda.
So then now it's going to be before they had a brief demonstration of the Sugata with the three special qualities of abandonment. Now they're giving an extensive explanation of that of the Sugata with those qualities.
Oh yeah. That one the some ni Tunge teme chir le yinsi lekbar pangbara shara, kechu tangbu shegwara. Tunge ji teme chebe larya tunge keya mengenge, ene pangba sonza lekbar pangbara shigres, tunge lekbar pangbara shigres ore. Lekbar pangba shigura. Ni tunge teme chir le yinsi, pangba de chuchense, pangba de shig de chuchense ora. Lekbar pangba yinde tunge ji teme be, ene pangba tartu yinbe shis ore.
Oh, 10 min.
This one.
Yeah. So what are the three qualities is the qualm here. And this is covered by because it is not the basis of suffering is the line in the verse. And so that abandonment is a good abandonment because it is an ultimate abandonment that is not the basis of any further suffering.
Oh yeah. Kadasne shendi chiruba to pangje de pangpangirba. Pangi yore te ko shendi namla pangba cham yore te ene de ka lekbar pangba de yo mare sora. Kasne tunge dan je lekbar pangba tunge da Tunge dan Reve Legbar Pangba Mades, Chiruba Pangba to the Sigora. Negam Nemo Pang Chiruba Leora. Or to the Yanga to make you to make so on a pang the Omar, to make you resora. Sajek and the Pangbate, Tungela and Kiju Megan Pangbate, it is the labor Pangba resora.
So here it is. The line is, it is good, it is a seeing of no self or something arising through meditative application. Here the commentary starts with that. Although those in other schools, this is talking about non-Buddhists, achieve abandonment since they are connected with suffering, they are not good abandonments. Then
Dame about Tom Joale in Osudwa. The Soloka Gada Shipsu Tamati, Chigan Tamati, Chigati, Riva. No, teacher chance, Pangba de Shit, the chance, Lebar Pangba on the Sunday, Tab Legba on the Sunday, Pangba de Topjig, Tab the Legba on the door. There is no Kansaga Dame Bangusum to serve to Tomata, the Yane Yando, Combalene, Toba Besigora. Chiruba to the Kansaga Dame community, Yomara, Negam Kokian to Teje, Pakaya Mato Yomare. And then the Kansaga Dame Musum to Tony Yane and the combatant to Gyoza, Nemo Sawa the Pound of Yora, and the Nemo Ladi Meba, Tungela, Kia Meba Pamper and Dua.
So the what's being talked about here is that the non-Buddhists have some degree of abandonments, but because they haven't completely abandoned suffering, then the suffering returns, and so here then this line, it is a seeing of no self or something arising through meditative application. Then that, the commentary says, that good abandonment is preceded by a good method. And that's because the good method then is because there is a new seeing by perception. We call this direct perception, or you can, or simply perception. Perception is direct. So then it's a new seeing by perception of the no self of persons. And that is attained through meditative application and accustomation. Dresa.
Oh, yeah, Dresa. Tameba, Lobe Lamato, Lotanasi, Dota, Laptuna, Tameba, Tomata, Rigba Niji, Chiro Shetan, Rigbani, Rigbe, Tonya Tab Dameba, Tombe Shirabdi, Combale, Shikbe Shir, Naso, Shecheto, Tatiba de Lapsana.
So the word or in the root text includes as abandonments the respective abandonments on the paths of seeing, and development here is often translated as meditation. According to Acharya Devendra Buddhi, when one interprets the quotation as because of seeing no self and because of reasoning, reasoning is praised because it is through the accustomation of the wisdom realizing no self by the method that sees no self through reasoning, that the Buddha is the Sugata.
Oh, yeah, this one. No. Lekbar Pangba, this one. Tungelar Medok, Pangba Sunda, Lekbar Pangba, Res Pangba Teshitra. Siriba Pangba to Tunge, Yaki, or Lekbar Pangba, Res Teshia.
So it's called a good abandonment because it's a thorough abandonment where not like in non-Buddhist where the faults return. And the faults don't return.
다 방바 대시도 라르 멘독베 방바를 시행이어라. 라르 멘독베 방바를 시행이어라. 가르선데 깨다 견에 근중다 라렌 도지 셰벤식도 드니 코아 양자께 여바다 녀모 양자께 여베 방바이나 아니 라렌 코아로 도그레스 티 독베 방바를 시행이라. 티 균슈스바세쇼라. 균슈스게 방바시오라.
네.
얘도 어디 저 마블라기오라. 카시방제 카시방기오데 방자 산다 마방제 코아 껴라고라. 어때저 균슈게 방바 땅부터 가가 라른 도베 방바레서라. 라른 뭐 기기요래 코알게 요래서라. 방바 대시데 라르면 도바 양자 뭐 깨마바 양자 코알게 메고베 방바데레서라. 깨다 견이 근중다 라련 도지 셰바 인세. 라련 코란 도지 셰바 인디 인점 조르에 깨와 동해다 견 차소니 시바 등기 봐도 근중에 다도 셰베에서 근중 다서 네 가서 년도 다다 균슈 전에서 그랬다. 저저 방바도 가서래. 코알라 라랴 카셰 방그리자 야마반 코알라 깨고야 되는 뭐 깨게 방바레서. 라른 독베 방바레서. 산제 단데셰게 방바데셰데 코알라 라른 도 메고 방바레서 티셔로. 라른 도 바라 방바스.
So this line is, let's see, what line are we on up in here? It is explained that in one who will revert to samsara, birth and floors will originate. Here, so here, this is talking with the qualm comes up. Well, what is the irreversible abandonment by abandoning which one does not revert to samsara? So then the reply is Dharmakirti's reply is with Dharmakirti and Gyaltsabte reply, a stream winner who will have 7 more existences is explained as someone who will revert to samsara. The idea here is that a stream winner, one of the 7, I think it's three, well, we're going to talk about 3, but there's like the 4th one is becoming an arhat. So this is before you become an arhat. You have to have 7 lives where you have to, well, in each life you eliminate, you abandon a certain amount of defilements, and so then you have to come back like that into cyclic existence, and take birth and so forth, and so a stream winner. So that's the kind of being who will revert to samsara, because it is explained that the suffering of continuous birth and flaws such as attachment will originate for 7 more existences. Tadrisa.
Sanje pangba teshide lar koala lar keme gonge pangba teres gora. Takde sabe pangba shelar me shekba ni no se. To ta do zimba da tangzingi sabe de sheba pangba beshena lar ya koala keme gonge lar me dobe pangba teres. Te ta di nim dolo ne da ngarji pangba de chuchas pangba teshide wa. Ene lar me dobe shekba yinde takde sabe pakcha da sheba sebe pangba she. Tame tokbe shirabji 당진 지들 어디 받을람나 당 당대 사부 다시 방배시나 라면 도 방바레스 tilabda tibato.
Nice.
Takde sabi pang bisi larme shekpa nyi no se de.
Oh, nice.
Chikani de.
So the line of the verse says here, Sugatahood is irreversible because one has abandoned the seed that is the self-view by way of having I think just that up to by not by way of having, but one has abandoned the seed that is the self-view. So here, the foregoing ultimate abandonment is that means the ultimate abandonment that we're talking about in terms of the Sugata is a Sugatahood that is irreversible, because in it one has utterly abandoned the seed that is the self-view, together with the propensities there too. The seed of, what do you say, self-grasping, that is, yeah.
This one. Oh yeah. Dami tokbe shirabki tangzile chita tokba kugyo da kajige. Tokba kugyo. Dami tokbe shirabki tangzile ya condition nigyo resigora. Ko zindan mitun bare tangzingi da yeban zindegi da meban zingi zindan mitun bare samgi nigyo na ene zindan gewa samgi ina tangzingi ja dami tokbe shirabki neban gyuro sigora. 당진 다음에 또 별로니 요라. 근데 당진 되게 다음에 또 베시라도 당진을 가르쳐 주고 그래서 거라. 군인 진단 가가래서나네. 당진 되게 다음에 또 베시를 녀다. 군인 진단 가가 임베셔서 거라.
네.
그래서
네.
네가 쉐바로 같이 다 해본 지 다 매번 생겨라.
네.
다음에 또 베시를 당진 가르쳐 주고 그래서 거라.
네.
아니 그래도 그 진단 tungo 말했으나. 지리 다 매번 그 다 매번 생겨라.
네.
아니 당진되게 다음에 또 베시를 내고 봐서. 군인 진단 tungo 말로 와서 거라. 다티 랜들이야 말에 당진되게 다 매번 좀한테 럭시를 와고 너를 와.
네.
다음에 또 베시를 되게 다 매번 또 봐도 너리와 말은 거 내주다 템버로 와. 어디서서 코치디 다음에 또 베시를 되게 당진을 내고 그래서 당진데 다음에 또 베시를 촌에 두고 말해서. 진단 밑에 버리데 치디 덴바르 치디 덴바 말해서 되그래서 거라.
네.
So
the qualm then comes up, how does the wisdom realizing no self damage self-grasping? If it is merely by contradicting self-grasping's manner of grasping, then conversely self-grasping should be able to damage the wisdom realizing no self. If it's just talking about the way that they're what do you say, apprehending their object, then self-grasping should be able to damage the wisdom realizing no self. So the reply then comes in to say that there's what do you say, the way that they apprehend their object is contradictory, but not merely that. The one that's self-grasping itself is grasping a false object, whereas the grasping or apprehending a false object, whereas the wisdom realizing no self is apprehending a true object. Yeah. Oh, did it?
yu dame ban zimbade temba ngoyo nesu tumbare sigora. Tete tade tangi jisam. Kansa yi tami tokbe shirab di chuchen sikdwa. Kyoji kansa ji tanzi la ngoy su nyugu de sikwa ra. Kare sile kyo dan tenyin zindan tadebe tanyi ki se, te tenyi tade se, kunyi zindan tade re se, chi da yobanzi, chi da mebanzi gwa ra. Tade ki se, zindan tadebe tanyi ki se, ngoy su gyawa kaan se, kunyi zindan pen gyawa de. Rwa, nge rwa, chi da yobanzi, chi da mebanzi gwa ra. Kyo zindan tenpa chinchi malok be yujayin bechir. Tami tokbe shirab degi zingan tonda de tenpa da chinchi malok ba res. Te sonza ko chinchi malok be yujayin res. Tanzir zingan de ta yoba yoba ma re. Te sonza ko zingan de zimba chinchi lok be zimba res go ra. Te sonza chak ta de re tiba do labda.
So we're in that line in the verse that says, by way of having a mental nature different from self-grasping, which apprehends what is true. So that their manner of apprehending their object are contradictory, because one is apprehending what is false and doesn't exist, and the other is apprehending what is true. And so then the wisdom, if we read the commentary here, and along with the Dharmakirti's root verse, the wisdom realizing the no-self of person directly undermines, we can say, instead of damage or just damage, the damage is the grasping at a self of persons, because it is directly contradictory by way of having the nature of a different manner of grasping reality, one that is a subject that is a true and right manner of grasping reality.
No ya. Ta chakde shen la, ta yan tu toba kogo yor da. Kande surusne. Chakde shen la pangba kaan liba yenshe. Yan du dan rangye trachon bato zu chakde rwa pang chakba dan chaya rwa, nyomo bata chaya rwa. Te pangza kari le de yor resi go ra. Yani sanje pangba deshe te, yani karchani malupa pangba resi go ra. Chakde shen la pangza kaan liba yenshe. Yani kaan pangba so sanje pangba deshe te kaan pangba malupa pangba juru resi na ase tuwa kukdwa. Malupa pangba ase pangba yantan sumbu nana tamadarwa. Chedan sanje pangba de karchani kari malupa pangba re. Yandu rangye trachon bato kari le de yo resi go ra. Nyaran trachon bacho janse, nyaran trachon bato pangba to chi le de yo resi go ra. Malupa pangba ma resi go ra. Lunga sempe nenge ne nyomo medan ne medan se lamshe mise nilu yin se re ta o de kira namang tamaswa changsem ge nenge ne luba yin de se lunga ki se ra lunga sempe nenge ne nyomo medan ne medan ta nyara trachon ba to pangja de nyomo pangge de pangba de kari le de yor se na malu pa pangba ma re se lunga sempe nenge ne lu yo re se go ra kasi tala chinto san lu ji nenge ne tu dar chomba sa ra nga ge nenge ne shandala rigma buti sa ra tinte yo re se go ra lu da nga ge nenge ne kyen tingi ma kombe wongi tesi le de yo re se go ra sanjir tinte yo ma re se go ra lunga sempe nenge ne nyomo medan ne medan ane nyomo che ma yinbe kosong je nenge ne dan denbe se nyomo pansar de nyomo che ma yinbe lunga ki kyen to da dengi re se go ra ti pang yo ma re se go ra teta na ya koa le dogba yindi se koa le ma dogba ma re koa le dogba re se go ra kare se nyomo mebe se nyomo pang be se go ra koe donge ji donge ne mebe se nyara trachum bato zo le ine nyomo me dan ne me dan se ra koe nyomo changma pang ba re kare nyomo yo ma re se go ra nyomo be kyen ji ne yo ma re kyen yo ma re se go ra this one oh de ba chi lo lamshe mese nilu yin se ta dibado chen yagdo sawa jade shibju shingi dibado de tangma de nyamdo lo shana ti yagre luyungan semde ne ngele nyamo meda ne meda lamshe mese nilu yin so lu de ti yagre sanje de le yo mare se gora oh ya
they did.
na ta de do tangma dibado chen ne de koya tu be yi ji ton nembe be se ti shane chikan chema de chesu lamne de ra
So here, the qualm then is, what are the remaining abandonment objects by abandoning which an arhat has abandoned, by abandoning which an arhat has abandoned every obstacle. What he's asking is, an arhat has well then, so you're saying, well, we're on the last of the three qualities, that this is complete abandonment or thorough abandonment, and the third aspect is such that so then the qualm comes up. Well, how is it complete? And then along with that, and how is it that the other arhats are incomplete? So it says in Shravaka and Pratyeka arhats, there are remaining trace faults of body, speech, and mind left over, because they possess trace faults of the three doors that are not defilement related. Although they've completely gotten rid of their defilements, they still have these trace faults that we talked about earlier, where they'll sort of do this jumping, and also they might say something like Rig Marbo means lower caste, I guess, is what I was trying to think of it, or they call them untouchables or something like that. Here, therefore, they do not revert to samsara, because there are no defilements. They have no defilement. Here is a word being used for mental mental afflictions, okay? And so here, defilements, the cause of samsara, they don't have those, and so they're not being reborn in samsara. And because there is no sickness of a mind tormented by samsaric suffering, there is left over in Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas a lack of mental clarity on how to explain. Yeah, I think we got up to that part. Okay, so then lam sheba.
Shenda karu luyo re sana, shenda tanam shebe se lo mesewa la soba tiyan luyo re sigora. Tama de luyo nga ne ngele da kyo kashe leyo silara. Tima se lamshe mese nyi luyo sene, shenda tanam sheba la lo mesewa nyi jan luyo ba yindi, nyomo zampangi ne ngele mabambe sere. Semgi nyomo se mayimbe mongba panga marwa. Nyomo se mayimbe mongba sera. Nyomo pansarte, nyomo se mayimbe mishibe mongba yora. Sako talam she da tindero lo sebo meba yore se. Sanjel tindero marwa. Oti soda malupa pangba rese. Komsel malu pangba nyise. Ngaji pangba tisi malupa pangba yindi, nyembo komba tarsimbe pangba yindi se. Oti badulo shantandi.
This word trace faults, maybe you haven't heard that before, so it's talking about what we call dysfunctional tendencies in the you like that word, dysfunctional tendencies in our translation of the great treatise. So that's another alternative. I'm not sure what Jeffrey uses for that and so they have that. And here the Buddha doesn't have that. Okay, and there is left over in Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas a lack of mental clarity on how to explain the path to liberation to others, because they have abandoned just the defilements. They have not utterly abandoned remaining trace faults. These trace faults then are a kind of cognitive obscuration, and so then they don't have, as a result, the clarity of mind that a Buddha has. Therefore, then no, start this.
Yeah.
Chikang chik yo.
That delay.
No, there you
You didn't go sad. That's Sabada. Comes in my loop and buying the Yura.
No,
Did you do it? That debut on the Sara.
no.
What I do. Tatunda the Karishek dosena. Summer Juvan dollar pen sheba. Tumba Teshek Juba. Teshek Juba. Oh, Teshek the Kebar Sunday Reshara. Keju Sunday Teshek Reshara. Pambate. Pamba Kebar Sunday Reshara. Kebar Sunday Karas. Lebar Pamba Reshara. Lar Medobar Pamba Reshara. Maluba Pamba Resh. Some share. Oh, Lebar Mabanga the Suras. Chiriba to Soge. Yamule can't do 10. Yamukashi Pangi had a nego and got Chigmare. Yina called Leper Pamba Mare Sora. Larian to Panski Jora. Only Kinshu Pagba and Joe. Pagba the Yanko land to him but a langora. Call it your land to Langor and Debatin. Tindu call Pangba Yore, the Pangbati and the Carsora. Leper Pamba. Casa. Lady said, 10 times duty was a lever pamba, Lar Mendor Pamba, the Marechera. Kinshu to the Yanko, Chilan Panza, Cousin Party, young quality, Kuara. So Lar Koal and Dog would say. Kinshu Pamba, the Lar Medoba Pamba Marese. Sanjay Pamba, the city, Lar Medoba quality, Meguba Pamba Resera. Any time the Cades when Yaran tries and be Pamba, Maluba Pamba Mares. Lunga Ginangele Yore. And you tell them she was a low Michelle Yore. Sanjay is a Kanga Pamba, Maluba Pamba to the Ese. To Pamba Keber some chef.
So, just to reiterate, what's being discussed at this point is that we're talking about, the one who I always, Genna has a quote there, but I don't have it in English. So then it's to the one who has become an authority, right? And the one who desires to benefit beings, the teacher, the Sugata. So here we're talking about the Sugata. And the Sugata then is has these three qualities of abandonment, and the first one being a good abandonment, which is not like non-Buddhists. Non-Buddhists take as their object of abandonment some of the mental afflictions, but they're not able to abandon them such that they don't return, and so that's not like the Buddha, who's abandoned self-grasping, so they don't return. Then they there's irreversible. A Buddha has irreversible abandonment, which is unlike. We're talking about stream winners. Stream winners are a kind of noble being, but they return 7 times. And it's 7 lifetimes. So then they haven't attained a irreversible abandonment of the of the mental afflictions, the causes of being reborn into cyclic existence, and whereas the Buddha has them in a totally irreversible way. Then when you talk about the third one is complete abandonment, and so then that means abandoning all the objects of abandonment, and that's a Buddha has that, but the Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddhas have this this remaining trace faults, which we call the dysfunctional tendencies of body, speech, and mind. Here, the body and speech we talked about, but then the mind is that they can't. They have a lack of mental clarity such that they can't explain the path. The Buddha doesn't have that. The path of liberation that the Buddha doesn't have that at all. So that's complete abandonment. I think, then there's one more.
This one?
Yeah.
Tadil Choba Chugota, Sanje Chumdende, Kyan Kanga Pangbayin, Yamu Kanga Pangbayin, Mishibe Momba Kanga Pangbayin, Shetsarva, Pangba Chebar Sunde Shera. Takaji Tokba Kugura, the Kyan Kanga Pang Yo Marikan Yo Resigura.
Oh, they chicken a tie, my day.
Comsir Malu Pangbayin, Pangba Maluba Pangbayin, Nimbo Comba Tarsin by Pangbayin basis.
So the aforementioned Sugata's abandonment is an abandonment without remainder. Okay, so that's, instead of saying a complete abandonment, he's saying without remainder, because it is an abandonment that is an attainment of one's goal through a complete accustomation to the antidote to the cause of suffering, the wisdom that cognizes no self.
Naniba Choba Chugura, Chiriba Choba Chugura, Kaji Maso China Kyan Semi Sigua, Sikandira, Soloka, Dada Shibushi Songi, Dambuta, Chegatera, Nive Chegatera, Nibateda, Sigan Nibateda, Sumbe Chegada, Dambudi, Komjimalu Pambani, Taisho. So, Kaji Maso Chirna Kyan Semi Sigua, Chiriba Kaji Gabobala Soba Kaji Nares or the order. Tuba Chumden de Kiran Sheban, Shikan Kanga Seba Mare Sigura, Kanekaja Shag Dua Sigura, Maso Chirna Kyan Semi Sigra, Tuba Chumden de Chuzi Kanga Seba Maide, Nama Vecha Sigura, Kanga Sesar in the Kanan, Kaji Karja Shagura. Milakaji and Tisha, Dimchi, Mamma Shagara, Condevachi, Nichi, Shagor, Resora, the young Marisagora, 7 young Marisa. No one would on them becher, Lambushi. Meanwhile, now I ordered John Migi, Zeba, and Zeba Tongre, Kaja, Duga Tugre, to mission by the mission by Kalashin, Budushim, Mendoza, and Matsawachi, do sit as we order Resora. Lamgal Danging in Middle tonight, she by Resora. One be connected to younger race, and I would go to what the Mogo Samgira or teach you to something that can say, but you know, my Resora. Oh, the Ducasa. Kajimaso Chirnagi. Namawata, Migi Tawata, Amjon Yambata, Timandongata, Kalasawata, Software regular Sobatana, and it can say, you remember your Marisagora. Maso China can say me, she said, oh, they love that.
Then the next section is an objection raised by a non-Buddhist. Say, the Muni has, here in the root text, he has not eliminated all flaws because he is a speaker, etc. Here, the commentary says some non-Buddhists and others say the Muni has not eliminated all flaws because he is a speaker or because he has sense faculties, etc., like people you meet on the road. So he's what they're saying is that he has to, he's just like everyone else. He's just, he's talking with others and saying, "Oh no, don't do that," or "Oh, could I have one of those?" Or he's just doing like everybody else, and he has sense faculties, meaning that sometimes it's going to he'll be distinguishing between, oh, I don't want that, this is good, or that's. He's just like ordinary persons.
This one. Oh yeah, that did a land yara. That the mangi batemba, so can Castle Tobacco, Genseba Mayindi, Nama, Genseba Mayindi, Migisula, Nave Tranya, Tratu, Su, Rachel, Sobanyo, Yeshe said, Diana Marisagora. Did that the mangi batemba nese. $10 Tesum Sawa teachers Tobacco, and then Chagdan the Jeba in the Nama Yeshe. Chagba said and get console, Chagdella, Nama, your days. Chagdella, Nama, never marry your days. Shangy to have to balance over Shannon, Pemba to balance over Shangy to that to a little share for the Labs Jagura. Just call Kanikajana, Chagdan, you never your Marisera. Chagdan, the Nama is Chara. Nama, the Chagdella, your days. Chagdella, Shangy to do Nama also by Yungurase. Charan Tadi and the Marese, Tuji and the Marese, Doctor says, or at the last. Midinshon and members of Tunjo to the Squara. Nama of the Chagda Ganjan, Chaba the dress and getting Amma man and go to Chita and that river. This one. Oh, yeah. $10 Tesum Sawa, this is Tuesday. Charan the Cabatuba race, Chagdela. Chagjangin Dogjogi, Chagde de Laya, and then Hamawada, Mixu Sula Tawala Soba Yore, Charan Cabatu, Cabatu, Sarah. Don ditches and Dokebla Tuba Yende, Dogwala Tesum Sawa Yeshe, Yeshe Gibu Nama Yeme, Kaya, Tuji Matonshin, Neba Sebe, Gibulaya, and then Nama Yeme, Tuji Matonshin, then go over Shebe, go around get Tesumsa. Cannot Tesum Sagre, Chagde, Geshe, Meva, cannot touch it to Marisagora. Chiguji, Orian, Tesum, some Dember shape of Chigi, Yanda Sheba make it, cannot touch it, Nazunambal Kuya Rasigora. A Kobe in the Tandi, Sanje Pala Koba Yinate, Yesema, Tusimachi, Sanje Chumdende, Keba Mambulia, and then Samba Punzota, Chora Punzota, Teletene. And then Mamba de Sheta talk about the singer or the singer, troops are in Basagora. Troops in Bechere, the Dara Tesum, Dember Churches, and Nasa. Dibadolona, Dibadolona.
So here the reply then from Dharmakirti and Gyaltsepche is that this reason has mistaken negative concomitants because the statement entails doubt about the opposite of the predicate, where it's not a correct reasoning, is what they're saying, and so then the negative concomitants is what do we call it? I forget the Jeffrey's translation. There's a forward provision and a reverse provision. So this is the reverse provision where so then because it has a mistaken negative concomitance, it has a mistaken negative concomitance, and because the statement entails doubt about the opposite of the predicate, that's what is meant by negative concomitants. And so when you think about what the negative of that is, it's that they don't really know what somebody who has no attachment should be like. That they have some kind of doubt about it, and so because their reason is not sound is basically what's being said, and that's because it says that somebody who has flaws is a speaker, and that's not certain at all. Okay, so then it goes on to say, when they refute the existence of a person who has eliminated faults on the basis of whether such a person is a speaker or not, there is no proof at all. For our opponents are in doubt themselves. They don't really know how a person without attachment should be. And even according to our opponents, one does not generate right cognition if one has any doubt.
This one.
This one.
Don't do that. Don't do it, Doctor. The Yeshe Mawa troops in my ship is a chara, Nangbe. Never say about the troops are in Basigora. I cheated a tesum temper changes and cannot do it, cannot tesum side on telling it to love you, Sanasagora. Cheated tesum temper chesena, Tuban days, Tapa Nangbe Lagiora. Tuba Dingun, David to get Tumbe Chusung Butter, Namawa in Becher, Gunseba Mainam. Debe sanje to chusung bare tina shit tambar ki chunye nyamsoland and tina shit kunselia dwarese no tina shit kunseba mai namsura chagje ngamawa tar kun maseba yinse tezum de takwa chene chagje ngamawa tar dene ngamag yorda chagwa da chebe kansa ngamawa tar ngamag yorese kiran tiyor basigora tesumla takwachene goala tiba nanse tadun tele matok bem dokjam ngebe tuchi mebe tondo ose no tate kenan dogbalia chatelia ngama mebade kenan dogbate tuk ma resigdwa motiba londrigdo ta
Here then the opponent is coming back and saying this reason can be set forth for the Buddhists because they have already proven and have not forgotten that a speaker may have eliminated faults. The Buddhists have already set forth that the Buddha has completely abandoned all faults, and we've already had that. But how is it that the reason induces doubt? How can it be that how can you say that we have doubt? So this is Gyaltsepche's response to that kind of a qualm. Then saying, this is a non-Buddhist saying, this Muni has not eliminated all flaws because he speaks purely only on the basis of the Dharma that was taught to him by past teachers, or he has non-eliminated faults as he speaks with attachment. Our opponents have set forth doubtful reasons, full of doubt. We answer that the reasons do not prove with certainty that there is negative concomitance, other than by merely repeating the assertion. Those who do so.
Tande Gangda Sanje ki Suku Sanje Senyiba Mayimber Mawa Teda Gabo Lekbar Hoa Hinu Singis no Tata de.
No.
Tande Chitama da Kashe Nangba ina Kashe Sanje Suku de Sanje Marisira. Sanje Kusu Sanje Shagatuba. Koran Sanje Mare Sere, Sugata, Sopo Yungan Sanje Sigora.
Yes.
Take a rese, Tambo Soso Kyora.
Yes.
Te Tambo Soso Kyosan, Sobo Koso, Tambo Dagare Sigora.
Yes.
Sanjan Tevaka Chaya Mare Sigora.
Yes.
The Sanja Mare Sigora.
Yes.
Or did under the Chirubaka Nashing, Luti Yungi or Resora. Tanda Sanja Jesuku Sanja Seniba Mayim Ramo Teta, Kiababa Levar Hombaina, Kiababa Tanda. Sanje Sigma, the Chade Sigma, the say, look the young girl,
So what's added here is those who say that the Buddha's physical form is not the Buddha are welcomed by the Gelpokpas. The Gelpokpas is who was just raising the non-Buddhists who just raised this objection. So here. What Gyaltse is saying is that there are some Buddhist tenets, like some members of the Vaibhashika and so forth, who say that the Buddha's physical form is not the Buddha, because they have this idea that the Buddha attained Buddhahood in this very same lifetime. So. He was an ordinary being in the beginning, and so then that body didn't really change. So then they say that the Buddha's physical form is not the Buddha. And so what they're saying is that this kind of assertion is, and the non-Buddhist would be happy to hear that kind.
Jada Shibju Shibshide. That is repair taxe, Gun Seba, Yamu Seba, Gun Seba, Kansa, Yabate, repair taxation to give her, maybe this repair Kagioda. Repair taxation, Never Seba Mare, Gun Seba Mare, Tuba Gun Seba Maris at Pakagio, Gun Seba Kansa Yuba. Mopang Bekansa Yuba, Mishiba Mobapang Bekansa Yuba to Tugora. Repair. 타지네 각관에서 땅이 처럼 탑매셔 야나 탑니 미셔셔 꽤나 미세 빠니지 자월 용서 또 자나 다콜 깨져 되거래 이거 간데스 되거서는 디만냠돌란 가지 네바세베 미시베 규신 되시거라 키라 네바세베 미시베 규신 되시거라 그 차소는 딱과인 배치를 세기 배시거라 건도가 게 차도를 서봐 나저를 서봐 대서 딱과를 매버차야 요 말에서 뒤차네 견세바 매시 착당세바 매시기 배시거라 땅이 지름 세드시기도 땅이 지름 세서 그 착과 그도 간가 딱과를 매버차야 요 말에 지게 요 말에 님비 매버차야 요 말에 세기 배시거라 저지거라 땅이 지름 더 매세르세 야나 네 차소 본내고 말이데 네 장세 본에 더 매베셔 건도당아 제단 되셔서 본에 더 매베셔 시기 배시거라 본 메시데 본에 더 말이 시기 배시거라 아니 땅이 지름 더 매셔서 야나 텀니 메시셔서 야나 탑은 뭐라도 요래데 탑디 학공계 요 말에 시기 배시거라 땅이 지름 텀이지 야나 텀니 메시셔서 탑이나 탑디 신경이 강사 요 말이 시기 배시거라 꽤나 메세 빠니 제 저리 용서 또 전화세 야나 탑 뭐라 요장 수장 메시베처럼 세장 될라 현다 돈이 집에 메시베처럼 탑 요래 탑 신경 요래 탑 신경 요래 탑들은 내 대세제 깔래점네 근데 돈이 신경 요 말이 시기 배시거라 꽤나 메시처럼 꽤나 메세 빠니 제 저리 용서 또 전화세 세장 현다 돈이 집에 메시베처럼 돈이 집에 요장 지다와신도 돈베 사와제메야 돈이 신경 요래 탑에 요래데 탑디 지다와신도 신경이 강사요 말에서 야 년경이 강사요 말 년나 탑디 중계 강사요 말 신경이 강사요 말에 시기때 가르쳐내 캐라 견세바 집에세바 강사 메시기 요시거라 집에 딱와인 베실세기다 땅이처럼 김봉지기 탑 매베실세기다 탑이나 탑디 신경 매베실세기다 탑 신경 요자 탑디야 시내 돈이 신경 매베실세기다 Tony Chinge Yona Shengen Yabuchi Maris, this is Karin. Sejavara Totana, Karimbas, Tortilla.
No, oh, no.
Dibada Totana, Dibot Silada. Soloka Jadashi, you should see it on that.
If we look at on page 332 at the
It's a great Jebach in the power. Gagiora, the same Hebat Karn, you ever took it.
so it's what we're doing is investigating the extremes through reasoning and refuting them. Here, there's a list of what about this and what about that from non-Buddhist opponents, you could say. So here, because the flaws are the actual verse says, because the flaws are permanent, or because there is no method, or alternatively, because the method is not known. So then, what do you say, Gyaltsabche, that was Dharma Kirti, but then Gyaltsabche, what do you say, comments on this. He says, the reasons adduced for the impossibility of eliminating faults are, for example, because the faults of attachment, etc., any of the mental afflictions, here referred to as defilements, are permanent. They cannot be abandoned. That would be one. Or two, even if they can be abandoned, they will not be, because there is no method of abandoning them. Or alternatively, three, even if there really exists a method, flaws cannot be eliminated because the method is not known by anyone. And then Gyaltsabche adds a fourth, even if someone knows the method, faults cannot be eliminated because it is impossible that one makes others strive for their goals. Or five, even if there arises the desire to make others strive for their goals, one does not, because one does not have the compassion that leads one to explain how it is to be done.
This one.
This one, that.
The Loshaga.
No.
No, don't do it. That is using a dead sologa.
Oh, they.
It's on it.
No, they.
Takupa is Yorda, Kapachiora. Never chasso children, Takba my days. Going to Takba de Panya Yomaris, I didn't dig Marete, the Jada Condola Soba, Church, Takba my day, Kuki, Kuyu Sigora. Mitabares, Kuyu Chetan, said the Chigra. Kuyu in the Nimbo Conversation, said. Keep on a tub meba mind, chuck down the sober number upon a tub meba mind, could you go Tanzingi, Nimbo Conversation, and it's chuck down a good Tanziri. Tanzindi Dami to should have come to say you or this, members with your this, Nimbo Conversation. Keep on a tub shape on your driven, you move by a tub singing, Kansa Yomaris and a tear Marisura. Keep on a tub de shape on your driven in this. Kyu rangshin sheba ye te sheba tuba yin sigara. And kyu gyu sigara, nyamogi gyu sigara. Rangshin chitawa shin to sheba yubesin. Nyamogi gyu tadun zimbala sokwa chigyoba, gyu di chitawa shin to sheba yubesin sigara. Kyu rangshin sheba ye se. Ti shena gyu di meba soyage, nyambo tiya she tubgire da meba kumgina, tangzi di sayo dugire sam te yuare sara. Kyu rangshin sheba te sheba tuba yin se. No, Chimani, Landa Chabani, Sendance, Tabshinga Yor, the Tab de Lamgan Yor Marison, and Digamarade, Sendent donation better Tamnal on the one Georges, or the Tonying Mason and Digamarade, Sendent donation better Tamnal on the one Georges, Chanjus and Batu the Tabshi, 돈이 챙겨 요래서 두차링이 쓰고라. 돈이 하지데 탑신게 요나 땡긴 요 말스네 요래데 껴바니 식 람송반 데미시나 좀에서 산제 좀 된데 껴바 두차리 바스고라. 오 껴베 건네 고아른 교회 들마고도 어디바도로나.
No.
아니 다다.
So we have then the final verse here, which is a combination of 144 and 145, where you read at the top of page 333, we find that they are not permanent because they have causes, and there is a method because one eliminates them through accustoming the antidote to their cause, and it is also proven that there exists a knowledge of that method because there is knowledge of the nature of the cause. So here, that's Dharmakirti, and then the Geldzipche adds the commentary. If we enumerate completely an analysis of these statements as to why faults are incapable of elimination, it is thus. The faults of attachment, etc., are not permanent because they have causes that generate them. That gets rid of this saying that they are permanent and can't be abandoned. Then it is not the case that they, because they have causes that generate them, you can see the causes that generate them. It is not the case that there is no method of abandoning faults. As here the objector is saying, because there's no method of abandoning them, even if they can't be, there's no method. So it is not the case that there is no method of abandoning faults because one eliminates them by accustoming to the antidote of their cause, self-grasping. So that by accustoming ourselves to the wisdom that cognizes no self, then we can get rid of, we can eliminate their cause. And then 3, it is also proven that there exists knowledge of a method for abandoning them because there is knowledge of the nature of the cause of those faults as it really is. Here, that gets, because it gets rid of the 3rd one, which is because the method is not known by anyone. So the nature of those causes are known just as they are. So here reasons 4 and 5 that were added here in the commentary, and their answers are not set forth here because they are understood from the earlier quote, a compassionate one, using, I think it's verse 132, and then later, and then also the 5th one, the 4th one being, even if someone knows the method, because it is the faults cannot be eliminated because it is impossible to make others strive for their goals. And then the number 5 here, even if there arises the desire to make others strive for their goals, one does not, because one does not have the compassion that leads one to explain how it is to be done. So then these are eliminated by that previous verse, and then by the section that follows here, the next verses, which is establish the Buddha as savior.
동의집에 가서 미시베 칠스나 그 요래데 전대 동네 쇼베시 탐나름네 원조르자에서 딸량도 살아
네.
장신 장주선바되게네 동네시베 탑리아 좀 받치기래서 다음에 벌어서 공부래서 동의집에 가서 요바데 딸이셔 차리 마시요
네.
어디냐 신경 탑치지 말로 봐 동계 요 말에서나 탑신경 요나 저에 권에서 탑치지 말로 봐 동계 요 말에서 봐이나 그 요도 오네 Sanjay Kyoba Trube Cup shaking in Sigora.
No.
Shalia, Tension Chinjimalo, Tebacone, Shank Kyoba Zaba in this order. And then I return the Samba Punzada, Joa Punzo Combatane, Tarshin, Sevacone, Dongres, Tengres, when a Kyoba Sheba of Shagri, Tilaco to Gres. This one's on this Zawe Cup down.
No. Yeah, that previous verse then, where he's saying that the reasons 4 and 5 and their answers are not set forth here because they are understood from the earlier quote. That's 132 says, a compassionate one directly affects application of methods to destroy suffering. Methodical occurrences and their causes are hidden phenomena. They will be difficult to explain. So then but then so even if there arises a desire to make others strive for their goals, one does not, because one does not have the compassion that leads to explain how it is to be done. That will come in the section below here, when it talks about the Savior in these verses. The Buddha is the Savior, for he has, and so forth. He has seen the path and teaches it, and so forth. So now we're at 146, and Gana system in here, it's 145C on page 335, page 335.
This one.
Yeah, this one. Oh, maybe so. Some of that did draw his phone, Diana, some good. Oh, so we have we'll say the dedication here. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samandabharja as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds.